Hey, everybody. Christina here from Dastrom Run Clubs, and I help moms just like you start a profitable children's fitness business in your community so that you can earn income, but you can also be outside, outdoors, getting your fitness on, involving your kids, and making a huge impact in your community with our growth mindset curriculum. So before we start, I have a couple of things I need to address today. First is like the shiner over here, my voice, and you'll see like these scraps. So what happened is that I have two big dogs, and two cats, and they do not get along. And yesterday, my cat went out of cat territory. Our house is kind of divided into dog territory and cat territory. And one of my cats left the cat territory into the dog territory. My dog got her, and I thought that he was going to kill her. So I started getting in the middle. I got totally bitten and scratched, and I got this shiner on my forehead. And it's funny because we were in the urgent care because my son was also got all this stuff, and we're on antibiotics. And the doctor at urgent care is like, "Why didn't you just throw water at them?" I was like, uh, the thought didn't even occur in my mind. So I think I lost my voice from screaming. I got the shiner from hitting my head against the table and again, my head. So enough about our trials and tribulations on this side of the internet. But today, this live, I wanted to talk to you about, how are you going to know if this starting a children's fitness business, if starting a kids run club is going to work for you? And I get this question all the time. Is like, yeah, I hear your testimonials, or yeah, I know that you can do it, but you're not me. Like, how do I know that this is going to work for me? And first, that's a really valid question because it just says that your brain is doing what it's meant to do, because our brain's first priority is to keep us safe. So anything that kind of gets us out of our comfort zone, it causes this upheaval in us. So there's nothing wrong with asking that question, will it work for me? So I figured I can talk to you about that, so that you know what, not like if you don't follow these characteristics, or if you don't have these characteristics, that it's not going to work. But after working with thousands of children, we're in over 60 communities across 23 states. I've kind of seen what kind of community and what kind of mompreneur tends to be most successful with this. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So you can see if you can identify with that. All right. So I am going to put a presentation up so you don't have to stare at my shiner all day. All right. So the topic today is, will a kids run club work for me? And the question is, I don't know, right? It depends on who you are and where you live. So we're going to talk first about community characteristics and then about the entrepreneur characteristics. So we have implemented run clubs successfully in all kinds of places. In the north, where it snows, and I'm talking like Michigan, in the south, where it's hot as hell, and like Florida and Texas. We've done it in urban areas. We've done it in in the middle of Chicago, in suburban areas and the suburbs of Chicago, in rural areas. That we've been able to be successful in that, and also in communities which have a variety of income levels. So I have done this program in Title I schools, like I've taught them personally. I have done it with homeless kids. In fact, it started with homeless kids. All the way to private schools and everybody in between. So the curriculum and the program, it works in all of these situations, but that doesn't mean that it's not easier for it to work in some places versus others, right? So what characteristics of communities tend to be the ones where it's easiest to be profitable quickly? So first is that it's large. You have to have a market. Otherwise, it's just, you're not going to make enough. And when I say large, it's highly subjective. So I'm going to give you just two examples. So I live in a town of 5,000 people, and we have 5 stoplights, right? In my town, there's a lot of kids, but it just isn't enough to have a very big program over here. And not only that, but I'm an hour to an hour and a half away from the largest town, from a town that I could have a very big program. So in this community where I live right now, it would be doable, but my market is going to be capped just because we're so small. So when I say large, think about how many elementary schools are there, how many middle schools are there. If you have one elementary school and one middle school, it might be a little small. If you are in a small community, but you are next to a big community where you would like to go, like it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or whatever distance that you feel comfortable with, that you would do it, then that's a different story. But you need to have a large enough base. I don't have a steadfast rule of what the population should be. But if I were to have one, maybe like at the minimum 10,000 people. And the only reason why I'm saying that is that it's twice the size of where I am now. Okay. The second type of characteristics that a community should have to make, to ensure that this is successful is that it has to be family friendly. So if you live in a community that it's mostly made up of retirees or it's a retirement community, it's going to be harder because, again, your market is going to be capped because most of the people there don't have kids. We work from preschool all the way to middle school. So it's on the earlier side of life. So if you live in a retirement community, it's not going to be the best place for you to start this children's fitness business. Okay. The third thing is that it has some open space. And this doesn't mean that you can't be successful in New York City because it's like a very urban center, but you have to have a place to go, right? You have to, a field or, basketball courts, like places where people can congregate outside and that is available to the public for the public to use. We also partner a lot with churches and with schools, and oftentimes churches have their space that we can use. So those count as well, but you have to have, locations for you to be able to have a run club in the first place. Another indicator is a community that has community centers or that it's used to having activities. So there are some communities that are family friendly, that are full of kids. And so in the afternoons, you drive around and it's full of parks and, there's soccer here and football here and tennis here. And, all kids are outside in sports. That is awesome, right? Because then now you're in a community where you have families that are used to putting their kids in after school sports. And you can see that if they have a community center, if they have a YMCA, a Boys and Girls Club, any organization like that congregates the community, it's also a really good sign that it's a community that is open to this kind of activity. And the final thing is that there is, if you want to have a profitable kids run club, then you have to be in a community that can afford to pay a price. All right. Pricing varies drastically throughout the country. I know that, Sandy in Idaho, she can only charge about $7 per kid per class. Whereas in California, my mom's charge like $20, $25 per kid per class. And then we have everything in between. So does it mean that Sandy in Idaho can't be successful? Of course not. But if you're sitting there thinking like, well, is this going to work for me? If you do a little bit of research, and you see, okay, parents are paying at least $10 per kid per class, then you're golden, right? Then it's going to work. And the way you do that is, let's say that it's karate, right? You check, okay, you pay, I don't know, $100 a month, but kids only come once a week to karate class. So 100 divided by 4, that's how much you would pay per class. That's the important thing, per class. Okay. So those are the characteristics that if you live in a community that kind of sounds like this, you are in a really good position to be able to make this club successful or this business successful for you. And out of all of these characteristics, I went the wrong way. This is what I have to do. All right. So out of all of these characteristics, the ones that I think are really the best indicators of success are these two, that it's family centered. So community that has a lot of families and that parents can pay at least that $10 per kid per class. That is going to ensure you that you have a big enough market and that it's used to having these kinds of activities, and that parents actually pay a good, a decent amount, or at least this minimal amount for their kids to participate in sports. Okay. So that is about the community. But how about you? How about the moms that join in the program? What characteristics should you have in order to give you the best chance possible to make this profitable? So let's look at that. So we have, I when I was preparing for this live, I looked at all our clients from the beginning until now, and we've done everything, right? Like some of our successful moms have been single moms who are just like gutting it out there. Some are married stay-at-home moms. We have really young moms where their kids aren't even in preschool yet. And I have had grandmothers that have come through the program, and with kids of a variety of ages, like I said, from preschool to middle school and high school. And I've also, some moms that have been super successful have a full-time job, and they're creating this business as a way to transition from their full-time job to be able to do this where they have more flexibility and where they can be with their kids. But I also have had a lot of stay-at-home moms that have been equally successful. So none of these things are really what determines if this is going to work for you or not, right? The outside of things, like what we would measure in statistics, is not going to tell you whether this is going to work for you or not. So what are the things that are? Let me switch here. These are characteristics that, if you have them, are going to make it easier for you to get to success quicker. Okay. First is having connection to your community. Do you belong to a church? Do your kids go to a school? Have you lived in your community for a long time or for a short time? How are you connected? That's, if the more connected you are to your community, the easier it's going to be to market to that community for them to come and be part and market so that the students are part of your club. The second thing is that you enjoy working with children. That's kind of not negotiable since we are a kids run club. So if you're one of those people that kids drive you crazy, or that can't stand, being around a lot of ruckus or a lot of loud noise, this is not for you. You're not going to enjoy this, and this is not going to work, right? So enjoying working with children is really important. You also have to be into fitness, right? Does it mean that you have to be a marathon runner? No, not at all. But it does mean that you have to enjoy fitness, that you like to be outdoors, that you like to play around with the kids, that you can play a game of tag without, dying or hyperventilating, or that, you think about, you're conscious about fitness, dieting, nutrition, not dieting as in I have to lose weight, but in nutrition and healthy eating. And again, I'm super sorry about my voice. It keeps like getting worse and worse. The other thing that is really important that I've noticed that my successful, what makes our clients successful, is that you have a clear why. Why on earth are you going to invest money and you're going to work hard to get this business going? A clear why is super important. Like just the other day, I was talking to a mom who hated her job and she wanted to quit her job, but she was super afraid of quitting her job. And but she was burnt out, and she would get these anxiety attacks because of the stress that her job was generating. And it was her 6-year-old that would tell her, "Mommy, calm down, breathe." And when I hear something like that, my heart breaks, because we're the adults in the room. It is our responsibility to calm the kids down, not the other way around. So I could see that her why was so clear. Like, she has to leave this job because it's not good for her or for her kid. But she couldn't see that. So I can't make you see that. But you have to understand, and you have to have your why very clear, because it's your why that's going to get you through the challenges that you're inevitably going to face. whenever you start a business, a real legitimate business, you're going to find challenges. It's not all unicorn and rainbows, and you're not going to, you know, be rich by next Tuesday. Like, it doesn't work that way. So if you have a clear why, that's what's going to give you the resilience for you to keep going and for you to be overcoming the challenges that you're going to inevitably find. Okay. The other thing is for you to be coachable. So if you come on our coaching calls and be like, yeah, no. It's like, and or we try to tell you something and you say it's like, yeah, no, I got it. Yeah. We can't help you if you aren't open to being helped, right? We know what we're doing. We're all moms. I've been doing this for several years. We are all across the country. So if we're trying to help you and giving you advice of how to do this better, and you think that you know better, awesome. Then go do it yourself. Like, you don't need our help. So if you are coming with us, then you need to be coachable because we can help you. We have been down this path. The whole reason why we can get our moms to be so successful so quickly is because we've done this over and over and over again. So you have to be coachable to listen to what we're saying. And the last thing is that you also have to be resourceful. And it kind of is connected to that why, because you will find challenges. And when you find the challenge, you have to be like, all right, here's the challenge. And this, like, let me see if I can go this way. Let me see if I go that way. So if if you're like, oh, I'm going to do it at the park, and then the park and Recs department is going to charge you $300 per class, that's not going to work. You'll be like, okay, so that didn't work. Well, let me go try this place, or let me try that place, or let me try this location, right? You have to be willing to think a little bit on your feet and to not be stymied by challenges, but just to be like, okay, I got this. I can, where else can I draw from? You have to be resourceful. Okay. So out of all of these characteristics, to me, when I'm on a call with you to see if I'm going to invite you into the program or not, if I think that if I know that I'm going to help you be successful, the things I really look for are these two, the clear why and the resourcefulness. Everything else we can kind of work around, even the coachable, because we'll win you over. Like, we'll show you, right? We'll open you. But if you don't have a clear why, and if you're like stuck and being unresourceful of not having ideas, it's like, I am not in your community. So I don't know what organizations are there. I don't know what connections you have. You have to draw from what we say are good partners and be like, oh, okay. If we say, like, oh, I had somebody that partnered with us with a gym, and but I don't know what gyms are in your community. So you're the one that's going to have to be like, oh my gosh, in my community, I have this gym, and I have a CrossFit gym, and I have this, and I have that, and maybe I could do this, and maybe I could do that. That's resourceful. Okay. That's really what's going to help you be successful. Is this making sense? If you guys have any questions, just type them in the chat and I'm happy to answer them. All right. So moving along. So if you have the basics of your community, right? That of the characteristics that we said, but especially if it's a family centered and if the income level is such that parents pay at least $10 per kid per class, and you are an entrepreneur, you want to become an entrepreneur, and you understand why you want to do it because you're sick and tired of not having money to do whatever, because you're sick and tired of being stuck in traffic and paying for daycare while, where all your money is going to go to daycare, or whatever your reason is, right? If that is clear and you are resourceful, then we can move on to the next thing, which is, then what you need to do in order to know if this is going to work for you is you have to know what you want, right? You can't get into a taxi cab and just say, take me, because he can take you around the corner, or he can take you to, I don't know, some crappy ass place, or he can take you to the most amazing 5-star hotel in the town that you're in. But if you don't tell him, the taxi cab driver, where you want to go, there's no way that you're going to get there because he has no idea how to guide you. So you need to know what it is that you want. So, for example, how much money do you want to make per month? I cannot tell you how many moms, when I get on the phone, I ask that same question, how much do you want to make per month? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I never really thought about that. So, if you haven't thought about that, you're not serious about starting a business and being an entrepreneur. Okay, you need to know how much income you want to make per month. And then I hear is like, it's just that income is not so important to me. I really just, like, I don't care how much I make. I just want to have the experience or feel like I'm doing something purposeful for my community. Awesome. I think it's great that you're motivated by passion more than by finances, but you still need to know an income level because that's the target. That's the one thing that we can measure so that we can take you there. The other thing that you need to know is, well, do you want this to be a side hustle, like a hobby, or do you want to do this full time? And the income is going to be correlated to that, right? Because if you tell me, I want to make $7,000 a month, but I want to do this as a little side hustle and I just want to work in my church, then I can tell you it's not going to work. Because if you want to make a consistent $7,000 a month, it's not going to be from having a little program in just one location. And when you're coaching, because that's the next thing, how many classes you want to coach, when you're coaching 2 hours a week, the numbers don't compute, right? So if you know these things, then I can show you and I can tell you, it's like, yeah, totally, we can make that happen, or that's a little unrealistic. And trust me, I don't believe anything is impossible. Like, you're talking to the one person who anything is possible. I absolutely believe that. But like, if you tell me you want to make, again, you know, $7,000 a month working an hour a week, it's not going to happen. Or if it does happen, it's not going to be with our program. So I can't help you get that. All right. So another question that you need to ask that goes along with this is, okay, so how many classes do you want to coach per week? So how many hours do you want to work per week? That's going to help you determine if this is a side hustle, if it's full-time, and how much income you're going to be making, because it's completely correlated to that, right? The more hours you work, the more classes you coach, then the higher your income. And then as you scale, as you grow your company, then you're not the one coaching every class. You have coaches that coach underneath you, and then you go scaling up. But that's when you scale. To get started, you need to know how many hours a week do you want to work. And then the other question that you can ask yourself is like, okay, so is this something that you want to involve your kids in, that you want to do with your kids, or is this more of a you project? And there is no right or wrong answer for any of these things. I've had a mom who all she wanted was to do this as a, what's it called, for the church, a mission, no, a whatever. Like, she just, all she wanted was to do this as a workshop or as a mission for her church, nothing else. And that was great. There's nothing wrong with that. I have another mom. She wants to rule the freaking world. Like, she wants to be everywhere to everybody. She wants to grow like crazy. She has multiple locations and she has people working under her. One isn't better than the other. One is not right. The other one isn't wrong. But you have to know what you want so that we can help you get there. Okay, is this making sense? So if you know all of these things, right? So we reviewed what kind of community makes the best type of community for this program to be successful, what kind of characteristics that you should have as an entrepreneur, at least, in order for you to be successful, so that we know this is going to work for you. And you have to know what you want, so that we have the goalposts, so that we know where to guide you. And if you have these things, then is it going to work for you? Yes, it will, because it is impossible. I will put my hand on fire that it cannot be that it will work for everybody else that have these characteristics, and for everybody else that live in this type of communities that know what they want. So it's going to work for everybody except for you. No, that's not how it works. That's not how we work. That's not how I work. And when I invite somebody to join our program, is because I'm 100% certain that as long as you do the work, that you're going to get to the goals that you committed to, right? That we committed to. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Sometimes it's really fast. Those things, it depends. And those are things that we're going to talk about. But that you can get there, you absolutely can. So if you believe that you live in those communities, and if you are that kind of entrepreneur and you know what you want, oh, I forgot to do this. So before I get there, in our program, our clients finish. We're an 8-week program that will be together, right? And we teach you a lot of different things. But at the end of our program, at the end of the 8 weeks, our moms finish with an operational business that have kids enrolling, which means that income is starting to come in. And we do this in 8 weeks or less, right? And I know that that's a bold promise, but I also know that I can make it because that's what our clients do. So as long as you do the work, right? As long as you do your part with our process, this is a goal that you will achieve. Operational business with kids enrolling in 8 weeks or less. So if you're identifying with this, if you live in that type of community, if you are that type of entrepreneur, then go ahead and book a call, dsrunclub.com/apply. And during that call, we're going to go deeper into this. We're going to really understand what your why is and what your goals are. And again, I'm only going to invite you to join us if I know that we can get you there. All right. And if we can't, we can't. There's nothing wrong with that. I will help you to the best of my ability. Hopefully you get value out of that conversation as well. But I won't know, you won't know until we have that conversation. So go ahead and book that call now. And I will, hold on, let me get back here to this view. And I thank you for your patience with my crackling voice, but I hope that this was explanatory to you, that you got some value out of it. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments. You can send me a DM, you can messenger me, or you can send me an email. And also if you have, I'm trying to get back into doing coaching and training here in the group. So if there are topics that you would like addressed, then by all means, let me know. I love coaching. I love teaching. It's just sometimes I find it hard to figure out what it is to say. All right. So just let me know and I'm happy to address your questions. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And I will catch you again next week on the live. And I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but I promise you that I will make it something that's interesting you. Natasha says, I want to try to coach here in Philadelphia. Awesome. So Natasha, what I suggest for you is that go to this link, dsrunclub.com/apply, and book a call. And then let's talk about it, right? Let's see what your goals are. Anytime that somebody tells me a big city, I know that there's enough of a market there and there's a community there for you to do it. So it's just a matter of making sure that your why and your goals are aligned, and we can help you get there. All right. So just go to this link and then select a time that works for you, and we'll get on the phone and we'll have a chat. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And I will catch you guys next week. Take care.